What's a stupid thing you've done that you still think WTF did I do that for? Part 8. I was working on a deli counter many moons ago and was cleaning the cooked meat slicer machine at the end of the day. You know, the ones where it is a big wearing blade. For some reason, my brain said, turn it on. It will be much quicker to clean that way, as I was wiping down the blade. Well, it definitely quickly sliced long ways about an inch into my finger. Still have the scar. Poured cream into a jug to serve with dessert at a dinner party and promptly poured it over my head. Apparently caused by medication I was taking at the time. I have never been allowed to forget it. Had a go of DC scooter. It went a bit faster than I expected and there was a curb coming up. Decided to jump off to avoid the curb. Face planted the floor, black eye. Took skin off both palms and knee out of my jeans. All on a main road to the amusement of passing cars. DH said to DS, as I got on said scooter, this should be good. I once put the microwave on with nothing in it to preheat it before I put the food in. It exploded. In my defense, I was about 18, drunk and stupid. Haven't done it again. I've drained my carefully made stock straight into a sieve and down the sink before, carefully keeping the bones that were meant for the bin. Yesterday, I discovered the butter in the bread bin, the bread in the coffee cupboard and the coffee jar in the fridge. Bought a new bread knife. It's amazing, and now wondering why the heck I didn't buy one sooner. Cooked some part-baked baguettes, and as they were hot I was holding them with the silicone oven glove as I cut them. Forgot it was a mega sharp new knife. It went straight through the bread, the glove, the lining of the glove and into my finger. Ouch. Turned on my phone a few days ago, find a voice message waiting. It told me to call 222 to listen to it. I felt panicked thinking it might be spam, as I never get voicemails. Anyway, DH said it wouldn't hurt, so I dialed it and heard my own voice saying testing testing. It was me, well, testing. And the number shown was of course our own, which I'd called from to test. Doh. What we do under stress, eh? I jumped onto a bouncy castle we had hired for my son's 2nd birthday. He was happily bouncing, and I jumped up really high and landed on my bottom. The resulting propulsion catapulted him straight out of the front of the castle and only missed serious injury, a drop onto concrete. As my sister caught him, as she was standing in front of the castle at the time. I had no idea this would happen despite my huge size. He thought it was hilarious. Thank goodness for the quick reflexes of my sister. We're all doing strange stuff at present. However, I do remember my grandmother, dead since 1999, one night putting out a hot water bottle on the front step and taking an empty milk bottle up to bed. Drove several hundred miles to pick my parents up from a flight at Heathrow. They were coming back to UK after working abroad. Became increasingly alarmed when they didn't appear off the flight. I'd got the right flight and everything, just the wrong week. I had to make a project group with 2 guys in college, and one of them was total Casanova. As I wasn't able to find anybody else, I approached these 2 guys and asked them, and they agreed. The other guy was a total nerd and gentleman, but the Casanova one took it as if I had some interest in him, and that's why I ask. A year past the project was finished, and I heard he told this to few of his friends. I got to know about this and stopped speaking to him except when absolutely mandatory. In final year, I couldn't contain my anger and wrote him an email. He totally denied it and gave me a word or 2 about how full of myself I was. I don't think I ever recovered from this whole thing and always imagined he went around and had a good laugh about my email. How silly I was at 16 to let these things define my self-worth for years, and possibly even now. I had a Saturday job in a bakery when I was 15. Manageress took some hot trays of baked goods out of the oven and put them in the rack, telling me not to touch them as they were very hot. A short while later I had forgotten what she said and pulled a tray out with my hand. Ouch! I was so embarrassed, I didn't even say anything about my poor burnt hand. Brownie camp. Tried to dry out some wet seaweed by hanging it on an electric fence. Currently nursing a massive scrape in the roof of my mouth after holding a torch between my teeth while trying to get the children's bastard pony in from his field. Got head-butted in the torch for my troubles. Eating, and especially drinking alcohol, has been painful all weekend. Hope you are enjoying today's video from Mother's Narrative Network. Please like, comment and subscribe for more daily uploads. Don't forget to click the notification bell. As a teenager, I had a shelf above my bed with a metal desk lamp on it as it was a better angle to see when I was sitting up reading in my bed. One dark morning I went to turn it on while still lying down. The switch was one of the boxes partway along the cable, so I felt along the cable with my hand until I found the box, and instead of flipping the switch, I pulled the cable. The whole lamp flew off the shelf and smashed into my face. It cut my lip and caused a huge nosebleed as well as a big scratch down the bridge of my nose, which when it healed enough to touch I realized was actually a dent. I can still feel the dent when I run my finger down my nose now, a good couple of decades later. This was the first of many incredibly idiotic things I've done over the years. Making jam tarts in school, teacher says, "Do not touch the jam, it is very hot." Of course, I stuck my finger in the jam, burnt it and put said finger in mouth and burned that too. My sixth form was a train ride away, and this was in the days of slam doors. Getting on the train during rush hour and the door slammed my foot and caught the heel of my shoe, tearing it clean off my foot. And under the train. The conductor had to be called over, the train backed up. Conductor had to jump onto the track to retrieve my shoe and off we went. Mortified. Had a crochet needle in my hand and decided to scratch my eyelid. Ended up at the optician's to find out I had scratched my cornea. It killed. Didn't notice the sign at the bottom of the escalators at Waterloo saying not to take luggage up. Got a third of the way, and wheelie suitcase shot towards me and I fell backwards, causing a domino reaction. Thankfully, the only person hurt said she was fine and was extremely understanding, even though I bet her knee was painful the next day. I will never forget the laughter from the down escalator, or how kind the staff were. I went to spend the night with my boyfriend. We had been away for the weekend. I was in the bath and he offered to pop a load of stuff into the washing machine. I thought, great, a man who does laundry. He washed everything in my bag, forgot to hang it out to dry, and I had to phone work on Monday and say I couldn't come in because I had nothing to wear. DH and best mate were late for a train, so running through a station. The travelator going in the correct direction was jam-packed full. Instead of running along the normal bit alongside, which just had a few people on like his mate, DH decided to run along the empty travelator going in the wrong direction. To his credit, he managed to keep up with his mate, although that may have been because his mate was laughing too much to run. I was in a hotel room on my own when for some reason my drunken self decided to roll from the head of the bed to the foot, a bit like a child rolls down a hill. Problem was I failed to stop at the end and rolled clean off the bed, crashing to the floor. My friend and I both have things you know you shouldn't be doing, but do them anyway moments. Hers was more heart-stopping for her than mine. Mine was putting my brand new expensive white bed linen in the washing machine with a bright pink sheet. Thought, I probably shouldn't be doing this, and did it anyway. Yep, pink linen. My friend was my MOH. She took the girls, her daughters and mine, BM dresses and hung them on the back of the hotel room door. She clopped the greasy black fire safety hing thing and thought, I probably shouldn't do this, and did it anyway. My father walked through the door and every single one of the dresses got a black streak across it. They were white dresses. She was in pieces, absolutely distraught. Luckily, it was a winter wedding, so I had bought the girls little fur boleros. So I said that they could just wear them buttoned up as this would cover the mark. She said later that she couldn't believe how cool I was about it, but really, what could I do? It was an accident, and it wasn't like we could get new dresses with about half an hour to go. She spent most of that half an hour with a pack of wet wipes and got the marks out, bless her. I once put up my umbrella, a huge automatic push, button 1, in a particularly bad torrential rainstorm whilst walking along a very busy major road. I soon regretted it. The wind immediately smashed it into the middle of my face. My nose was bleeding profusely, and I just stood there stunned. Several cars stopped to check I was okay. I just wanted the ground to open up and swallow me. The next day I had 2 black eyes. Rather than tell people I whacked myself in the face with an umbrella, I told them I fell down the stairs. It seemed less embarrassing somehow. I don't seem to do one stupid thing ever. It's always a load of stupid things in a row. One Sunday night, I was in a beer garden and my friends wanted a photo taken, so I drunkenly stood on a table to take it and then jumped off, landing all my weight on my little toe and messing up my foot so much I couldn't walk. We then decided to head into town, even though I had work the next day. I was so drunk that I didn't think to go home or to A&E. I let people carry me into a taxi and into the next bar. It was late. A friend got drunk and fell out with everyone, including me. I decided to leave, although as I hopped outside I realized I couldn't walk home and had no money for a taxi pre-Uber days. I saw a man getting into a taxi and asked if we could share, which he keenly agreed to. Got in the taxi and we were chatting when he said, "This is my stop." Realizing we were miles from my house still, I invited him to stay at mine, thinking at least this way he would pay the fare. He agreed. We got back to mine. I couldn't find my keys. Realized I was locked out and the only was to break open a window. I lived in a first-floor maisonette where the door was on the ground floor and then a flight of stairs to the apartment. I told him to break my bathroom window. He climbed on the roof and said, "Is this the right window?" And I insisted it was. He broke the window. It wasn't the bathroom window, but the one above the stairs. He fell, 10 to 12 feet. He impaled his arm on some glass and cut up all his back. He let me in and I didn't realize what happened until I crawled upstairs and saw the bathroom window was still intact. It was then I looked back and saw that the stairs, walls and carpet were covered in blood and glass. I panicked. We tried to clean him up using a tea towel tied around his arm. He then suggested the only way to make it up to him was to have sex. So I agreed, thinking that it was only fair. It didn't last long. After a few minutes, he said he had to stop as he'd lost too much blood. Then we both passed out. In the morning, we woke up, both in agony, and saw the mess and thought, what the fuck? My whole bed was covered in blood. It was like a horror movie. I called him a taxi to A&E. He was reluctant to go as he said he had community service and would not be able to miss it. The last thing he said that he hadn't realized I was lame when he came home with me last night. I had to call in sick for work. Then I called my landlady and told her honestly what had happened, and luckily she found it so funny that she was sympathetic. We got someone to repair the window and she helped me clean the blood from all over the place. It was like a murder scene. Then I headed over to A&E for my foot. Thankfully he wasn't still there. I spent 2 weeks on crutches, had a steep bill for the window repair and felt humiliated. I did manage to track the guy down on Facebook just to check he was okay. He told me he had permanent scarring on his arm, so he would never forget me. It looked on his profile like he had a girlfriend. I wondered what he must have told her. Never saw him again, thank God. Although a week later a friend said she saw a man in town picking litter with a bandaged up arm. Not me, but when I was at uni, my friend and I were dancing the night away. She jumped off the stage in this very dramatic way and ended up in a great kneeling pose on the floor. Obviously, we gave her a round of applause, but she suddenly said through gritted teeth, "I can't fucking get up." We found it hilarious and got her up and danced for another hour before leaving. She ended up in A&E a few hours later when the booze wore off and her ankle had turned swollen and blue. Turned out she had severely sprained it. My other friend tripped up a curb and broke her toe. She danced the night away on that before realizing. My own personal story, and I don't tell this one much. I once fell over in front of the entire local rugby team on a night out. I smacked my head on the floor, legs akimbo. I was wearing pink knickers, and my friend thought I had gone commando. As she valiantly bent down to help me and close my legs, her boob tube top fell down. I don't remember much of it, but I do remember waking up with a terrible headache and whiplash. Can't write this without feeling faint. I needed to put a new light bulb in a light fitting over the staircase. Placed chair near staircase banisters. For some reason the light was still switch on as I stood on the chair. Couldn't get the bulb to screw properly into the light and put my fingers into the light fitting and got the most almighty electric shock and nearly fell off the chair. Dear God. I'm not stupid, but the hell did I do it? Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed today's video. Before you go, please like, comment, and subscribe for more daily uploads. Don't forget to click the notification bell.